Shalom, I'm going to give all praises and glory to Yahweh, Bashem, Yahushai, Bashem, Rakah, Kadash. Double honors the elders and apostles of GMS who teach and roll well. And say taste to all the Akim and all four corners of earth who's pushing this truth and sincerity. Shalom, Akim. Yeah, I want to get into this picture. It says Trump officials living on military bases. So in today's society, we have the internet and these social media sites, and you can Google search somebody's name, their whole address, and pull up their whole family. Everything pulls up nowadays, And so these officials right here, it hit the news that they left their houses because they don't feel safe, and now they moved onto the military base to be closer to the, to Trump, and they're saying what's really going on. They're also noticing what's going on around the world with the toppling of governments, man. That's a major thing that's going on. You have these young generation, they call them Generation X kids. They're seeing that what's going on. They're not feeling the government. They've been in power too long. They're going storming their presidential palaces left and right. The most recent one that they got quelled not too long ago was in Mexico, and they had to tell them to shoot to kill. We ain't gonna play with the protesters. We're gonna shoot to kill. They're sick and tired of the narcos and running the politics in their towns and stuff like that. So the kids, so the young adults went and they're trying to crash down on the president, man. This ain't right, man. All across the world, these things are happening, and these people, these government officials are seeing that. And they also know that America plays a big hand in a lot of these topplings of governments and social quail that's going on, social unrest, I should say, that's going on in their countries. America plays a big part of it. But yeah, these guys right here, they're gonna try to hide under Trump's wing, and this Rubio guy, Marco Rubio, he was on the news or has a news coming up soon, a good one I'm gonna watch. As much as I can, because their rhetoric talk getting to me, and I don't want to hear that shit. But sometimes it's good to hear because we can pick the meat out of the bones, pick the bones out of the meat, I should say, But yeah, this place, it's ripening for civil war, man. Plain and simple. When officials start running under the president, knowing the things that they're doing in their area is not right, and the people catch hold to where they live at, you had a senator that got shot. You got public officials getting gunned down. Like, this is these type of things. Since Kennedy getting killed, really don't happen in America like that. America doesn't go after the government officials, but now they're starting to go after them. This is Second Esdras 15 and 14. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and the destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. For there shall be a sedition among men, invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and their courses of their actions shall stand in their power. Bottom line, that these people are not, the things that are happening right now, they're not regarding who's in power or nothing, man. They're sick and tired of, of the left-hand deals. They're sick and tired of things going up, and they're not being able to save their money. They all were showing on the news how the cost of living from decades ago, whether it be in the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, and comparing it to now, and it's astronomically different, man. And they're not feeling that. The kids, the so-called Generation X kids, they're not even going to college. They don't even want to go to college no more. They said the college dream is a nightmare. They don't want to be in debt for their 20s and 30s. You know what I'm saying? And then finally in their 40s and 50s, they finally get out of debt supposedly. But that's not how it happens in America. You stay in debt. You gotta get a house. They're gonna give you a mortgage. You're gonna stay in debt. They're gonna give you a car note for 20 years. You're gonna stay in debt. That's the way it goes here. But yeah, these places in America is getting ready to feel that same way. You got these, because America's, I'm gonna bring that out too, because you gotta realize you have these devils fighting against each other here in America. The George Soroses against the against the Elon Musk and against the you got a list of characters here, not just Trump. You know, he plays his role very good, but it's a whole list of characters that are behind him. You know, yeah, this is continue on. 2 Ezra 15 and 17. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. For because of the pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid, man. Don't we cut the news on every day? You know, you seeing different attacks on the news and stuff. Chicago crime running rampant. They keep showing you these homeless people putting people on fire, stabbing people up, fighting people and stuff. Every time you come on the news, there's always a shooting on the CTA train. They got all these police forces on the train, but they can't stop nothing. You know, something's going on, man. You know, this is Matthew 12 and 25. And Yahushua knew their thoughts and said unto them, every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation, and every city or house divided against itself shall not stand. Right now in America is very divided, man. They're very much divided. And another thing, even amongst even amongst these different groups, they're also divided amongst each other in these different groups, man. So this place is just ripening for the picking of being taken over as far as insurrection or even just a civil war to kick off, man. You know? Not to mention the enemies of America are here, but the people in America are against everything. Every other day there's a mass shooting somewhere, man. And they always have the same manifesto, the same guns, the same reason why they did it. You know, they're trans, this and that. And they're sick of people making fun of them, so they decide to lash out. You know, and then they have a whole letter why they did what they did, you know. It's the same story, man. It says, Matthew, Matthew 12 and 26. It says, and if Satan cast out Satan, he is divided against himself. How shall then his kingdom stand? And how is this place going to continue to stand if these devils are against each other, man? You know. Once again, even amongst themselves, they're arguing each other. They're fighting each other. You know. Let me bring that out. Bring this Amos out because you have some that are for abortion, some are for animal rights, some are for the trans community. You know, these are different issues that are brought up that are going to divide, that are going to keep dividing their house, man. You know, so they'll never get peace, man. So this is how we know more and more that that this place is coming down, man. You know, because these guys, amongst themselves can't get along with each other. This is Amos 3 and 3. Can two walk together except they be agreed? And in this case, once again, the house is divided, so they're not agreed. They're agreed on the one thing, that dollar bill. That's the only thing that's really keeping them intact, you know. And as well as, like Trump said one time, that when he talked to these guys, that any one of these guys could be the next runner-up for president, man, you know. So that's another thing that they love to do and huddle around the president because they feel like they're going to get that presidential nod, that presidential vote when the time comes, man, you know. So these are nothing but a bunch of yes men. But they're doing their job, man. You know, they're doing their job. They're playing the role for Nero, man. You know. But yeah, you got, once again, you got that homosexual spirit that's out here that some of them agree with. Some of these guys have families and stuff, so they can't be down with that LGBTQ plus stuff. You know, that divides their household, man. And in America, especially the farther we go, you know, especially the farther this place goes into decay. You know, households are being divided for simple things, man. It's Republican and Democrats, man. They'll go to war with each other over those issues, you know. So America is very much divided, man. But yeah, what else? Yeah, this place. Yeah, I just wanted to shine some light on this, and and letting you know that that this place is coming to an end, man. You know, once again, when you see the political people getting shot at and the death threats are going up. Trump just pulled Kamala Harris's security team, so they're gonna try to get at her. We'll be hearing about things of that nature soon. But yeah, a lot of America's leaders will be hunted down very soon, man. Just like in these countries all over the world that you see them governments getting toppled. Same thing's gonna happen here in America. London's on fire right now as we speak. They got Muslim prayers going all across their systems. Yeah, but with that being said, just edifying. Shalom, Akim.